So I know a little bit about robbery. And today at Elkhart Lake, Scott Dixon stole the IndyCar race from Team Penske. Right in front of all these people and us. He stole it, brother.
I hate the guy. Some idiot on Friday who looks a lot like me stood here and told you something really strange would have to happen for Team Chevy and Team Penske not to win. Dixon decides, well, I'm going to make Pruett look like an even bigger idiot than he already is. How did he do that? I mean, seriously, that was not supposed to happen.
Who do you know that picked him? That's right. I picked him to win, folks, because I don't know. I can't pick anything else right. Here's all I know is this. I think it was Newgarden. Newgarden was just as fast as Scott, and he had good strategy. He went out in the second stint for blacks, and the yellow came out, and Dixon ate him up on reds. And once Dixon got ahead, Joseph they matched each other lap for lap and almost push for pass. But like Joseph said in victory lane afterwards, he said, that's Scott Dixon, man. He ain't going to make a mistake.
No. And you could also say that Dixon and the team was smart about their push to pass, too, a little bit earlier in the race. With the amount of time that they have, you can see that Dixon was using it a little bit earlier to try and draw up the gap to the Penske cars to be in a position. It's not as if the Ganassi team knew Takuma Sato was going to crash on his own for the second time in 2 races and bring out the first yellow, but at least they were in a position to be close to do something if a yellow came out. Frankly, it kind of turned the tide of the race right there.
Yeah. And the other thing is, Joseph did the same thing Scott Dixon did. He stayed out a lap longer on fuel. His fuel mileage was great. He just said to start his press conference, it's kind of hard to accept second when you think you got a winning car. And I mean, Scott Dixon's the reason he's won 40 races now is because he's a badass. And if you'd have told me before the race started that Team Penske wasn't going to run at least first and second, I mean, it's one of the most shocking results I think I've seen in a while.
But that's what Dixon's good at doing, right? He is the master of how the hell did you do that? But at the same time, we have to ask, how the heck did Penske not win the race? And it's not as if they did anything wrong, like blatantly made a strategy call that was bad or anything else. This is just Scott Dixon in his element. The guy's a shocker. When you picked him yesterday, I'm like, all right, well, that was a waste of a pick. But again, I guess I failed to I misunderestimated him. And
it was too easy to pick Penske. That's why I picked him. I don't know anything. You know that. But here's the thing. I talked to Pagano after the race, and I said, God, you were fast all day. You really didn't put a wheel wrong. He goes, well, actually, I ran off the track once, but nobody saw it. He goes, I was good, but I wasn't good enough. He goes, Dixon was just, I give him big props. And Will Power, another guy we thought was, and Castro Neves drove another flawless race. He didn't do anything wrong and finished third.
Yeah, and he looked like someone who knew that, I don't want to say that the clock is winding down, but how many opportunities? This was his third pole of the year, I think. Third pole of the year to not convert that into a win. I mean, again, the guy's still amazing. The guy's on the podium, but how many more times, Robin, can you go so quickly, be where it matters Friday and Saturday, and come up just that little bit short, couple seconds short on a Sunday?
I know.
You hate to see it for him, but you could also see with him in his reaction, like,
what do I got to do?
Yeah, what do I got to do?
Shout out to Charlie Kimball, finished sixth. I was just kidding him, and I said, if the championship was decided maybe now at Mid-Ohio and maybe a couple races here in Indy, you would always be one of the favorites. And he laughed. He goes, I know. He goes, we had a good day. We had a good car, good strategy. Max Chilton had a good run. Ganassi, they did a really good job.
Impressed by all of them. It was pretty much a Penske and Ganassi party. Last year, it would have been the same thing, both Chevy teams. This year, with Honda and Chevy, them being split, it was cool to see that Dixon was able to run as well as he did and also have a couple of his teammates. Kanaan was the only one, really, who didn't factor today, and he had a hard crash. Luckily, he's okay, a little bit banged up. No Christmas cards coming from the Kanaan household to the Rossi household for sure.
Well, and I think there was a lot of aggressive driving today, and just like last year, a lot of great racing in the back. We actually had a pass for the lead when Joseph passed Elio for the lead, and then Scott, of course, made his move. So it wasn't just a typical boring road race. There was a lot of stuff going on, and I think the other thing that you got to talk about is Art Sincere. Honda said, "I felt like we stole one today." I said, "No kidding, you stole one today," but. We heard a rumor before the race that Andretti was going to Chevy next year, and I asked Rob Edwards. He said there's nothing to it. I don't know where it came from.
So that means it's a yes?
Well, sometimes it could be. But I suppose it would make sense on Chevy's part to go after him.
It would. You look at the numbers, it is Penske versus everyone on the road courses. Spencer Pigot drove his behind off today. He had a huge issue in the pit, lost more than a minute in the pit, then drove back. I mean, he finished 12th, but the kid was running solid inside the top 10 until that happened. Jerry Hildebrand wasn't really anywhere. Carlos Munoz had a strong performance again today.
Best job of the year for him.
Yeah, on a road course, definitely strong for him. Connor Daly, who'd been stuck at the bottom of the field all weekend long, thanks to a little bit of adversity, but he was fighting Michaela Lotion for last place as if it was for the win at Indianapolis, and it was just great to see the two of them go hard for it. Michaela as well, starting 19th, finished 10th, so good for him after missing all of Friday, but not a lot of bullets in the Chevy gun when it comes to fighting Honda on these road and street courses. So if I'm them and I'm looking at trying to balance things a bit, I'd be talking to Michael Andretti, knowing that, what did we talk about this morning? The minute Chip Ganassi came in, we thought that was going to be 6 months or so till they found the groove. No, they're P1 in the Honda camp right away. Scott Dixon leading the championship, won the race, essentially doubled or tripled his points lead over Pagano. So just saying, if you and I are playing Chevy managers and looking at how to strengthen our position, if Penske's not there, Andretti's the obvious one, knowing that Ganassi's kind of moved to the top of Honda's depth chart.
But the kicker is, as Andretti has now won 4 races for 4 Indy 500s for Honda. It's Honda's biggest race every year. They put all their effort into it. So it would be a tough decision unless they threw a whole bunch of money at you.
Yeah, and how's this? Rather than seeing Chevy and Honda kind of fight to take big 4-car teams back and forth from one another, I'd rather see Chevy ring up a Trevor Carlin and say, hey, what can we do to get you in, to add 2 more instead of shift the same players across on the board. Wayne Taylor Racing, their big Chevy slash Cadillac team in sports cars. What can we do there? Ricardo Juncos already ran with Chevy Power this year. What can we do to bring you in but make you a strong performer? So just my personal thing. I'd rather see the car count grow and Chevy strengthen themselves by strengthening new teams than just big teams keep getting traded on the board.
Right, because Penske's always going to be there. He's always going to be up front. All right, you got a plane to catch. The Milwaukee traffic, be aggressive. Be Mac the Mad Russian.
I'm going to be on the push to pass the whole damn time.
Push to pass. If you're on 94, I don't know what color it is, but stay out of his way. Read his stories, watch his videos. Thanks for reading Racer.com. Robin Miller, Marshall Pruett. Talk to you next week.